Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Tuesday, December 5th meeting of the Milford P&Z. If we could please stand for the pledge and a moment of silence. Thank you. Meg, if you would, please call the roll.
Mr. Anderson has been excused. Ms. Austin?
Present.
Mr. Cassignoli? Mr. Hirsch?
Here.
Mr. Cater?
Present.
Mr. Collegian?
Present.
Mr. Mortimer?
Present.
Mr. Sadi?
Present.
Mr. Zaharidis?
Present.
And Chairman Cush.
I'm also here. Before we get started, just a little bit of housekeeping. This is not a public hearing, so we will not entertain anything at all from the audience. If, in fact, it does get out of hand, then I know for me personally it will affect how I view arguments that we've heard. With that being said, we have the proposed regulation change, 23-6, petition of Kevin Cresadian, Esquire, for changes to Article 3 District Use Regulations Sections 3.5 Office District. So at this point, we'll open it up for the board's comments, discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So this proposal before us on the regulation change, how many votes is it required to pass the regulation change?
A simple majority.
That is incorrect. It is 6 members you need.
I stand corrected. I apologize.
Now, is it 6 members notwithstanding the fact that there is a protest that has been lodged? Does that affect the number of votes necessary?
It does not affect the number of votes because the protest did not meet the minimum requirement of 20% of the lot area of the properties within 500 feet of the zone.
Any other discussion or comments? I'd like to just say a couple things that the outcomes, we could approve the regulation change and not approve the special permit. We can, if the regulation change fails, then we don't have to vote on the site plan or the special permit. And if no one makes a motion at all, it will go to the next meeting, which is January 2nd. But if we don't have anything to say or ask, then I'll hear a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is about item number 1, proposed regulation change 23-6. I move to approve as presented the petition of Kevin Cresadian, Esquire, for changes to Article 3, District Use Regulations, Section 3.5, Office District. Proposed change are consistent with the POCD effective date December 29th of 2023.
I will second.
Do we have a motion? Do you have a second? John? Okay, any discussion on the motion? Mr. Sadi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I reviewed all the materials that were presented to us over the course of the time that we had the public hearing. I've taken into account all of the comments of the public. I think that it was a well-represented group of individuals. I've also taken into account the comments by the former mayor, Mr. Smith, other members of boards and commissions that spoke in favor of the prospect, and I will be voting in favor of this particular zone change. I think it's a difficult choice that we have to make, but I think that the way it's presented through the moving papers through Attorney Cresadian, I am sure that they will be cognizant of the area around the property, which would include schools, which includes the water area, Mondo Ponds, the trails and the like, And I suggest that the way that the petition was presented to us also assures us that we have a vibrant business community, and this proposal appears to indicate that it's going to show growth in the city of Milford, and I think that we should approve this. Thank you very much, sir.
Any other comments or discussion on the motion? I'd just like to say that I do understand that the neighbors and a lot of the people in the area were affected and negatively on this proposal. I think the regulation change got less heat than the actual special permit for the specific use, and a lot of your beliefs that will somehow damage Mondo Pond and your quality of life. I know that it's passionate. I don't know that we really saw facts that supported that this either regulation change or the regulation change combined with the special permit will actually do harm. I know that there's a lot of people passionately believe that it will, but I'm not sure that is really what will be the outcome. But that being said, if there's nothing else from any member, then I'd hear the roll.
Ms. Austin,
With the motion.
Mr. Castagnoli, Mr. Hirsch,
With the motion.
Mr. Cater,
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian,
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer,
With the motion.
Mr. Sadi,
With the motion.
Mr. Zaharidis,
Against the motion.
and Chairman Quish.
I'm with the motion. Next order of business is 0305-325 Subway, Zone OD, petition of Kevin Cresadian Esquire for special permit with site plan review and lot consolidation to construct a 160,000 square foot warehouse on map 41, block 303, parcel E, F, and G, of which Subway Subs, Inc., Bick Drive Realty 2, LLC, and Subway Subs 2 are the owners. Do we have any comments from the board at this point? Mr. Sadi.
Thank you very much. As I alluded to in my earlier comment on the regulation change, I reviewed the plans presented by the applicant through Attorney Cresadian. I find that, I've taken into consideration the concerns of those residents that live nearby and also their concerns for the school area and the like. I do find that this would be an appropriate use of the land, and I know that there could be other places, but this originally had a substantial number more of vehicles coming and going, and I understand the concern about the trucks on the roads. Some of that we cannot control. Whatever we determine today with the special permit and the zone change, if it's approved, special permit's approved after the zone change, we can't control the traffic issues. I don't think it's going to be as big of a concern. Those are my thoughts on the matter. Thank you.
Mr. Mortimer.
Thank you, Mr. Quish. Just a couple small points going over the site plan. Mentions that there's going to be 12 trucks per day. And if you could clarify whether that is 12 truck trips per day or 24 trucks in and out, Mr. Cresadian, I'd appreciate that.
Actually, John, we can't hear from the applicant, but
okay.
but David might be able to recall.
Okay, yeah. That would be a concern. And the other thing would be, there's a note that 18 chargers, electric vehicle chargers, would be out front, and it's not shown on the plans. So it just needs to be put in there, I believe.
Yeah, a later version of the plan did add the chargers. The way our regulations are written, the number of chargers they provided aren't the correct number, but we'll take care of that when it comes to permitting time because it's a standard. You have to provide the number of chargers that the regulations require.
Thank you, Mr. Sulkus.
Anything else? One thing. Oh, yep.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I looked at the plans as well, and I have some concerns with the plans. I have concerns that we focus more on use than who the end user is, and I have concerns that once you open up this district to warehousing use, I know that we have certain prohibited uses, but I have concerns with if this proposed end user or subsequent end users are going to engage in automotive-type work, I have concerns of the interior of this warehouse alleviating or preventing materials from leaking out. So I do have some concerns. I also think that this warehouse is too big, and I think the height is a little too big for this area, given the trees and the nature preserve area. So I do have some concerns.
Mr. Chair?
Thank you. Yep.
Just to let you know, the applicant did contact the office, and then they did say that if you had a motion that limited, and I can get the wording, hold on here. You can make a motion that says the receipt, collection, storage, and recycling of used automotive fluids, including used motor oil, is prohibited. The applicant would have no issue with that as being a condition of approval. And also keep in mind that if any board members have concerns about the height of the building, the size of the building, you just passed a regulation that allowed those heights and sizes. So if just saying that now that you have a regulation that's approved, the applicant can apply for whatever meets the regulation is that you've just approved.
Understood. Any further comments? I'd just like to say that, we do have a situation where empty office space is going to be more common, and we have to have adaptive reuse for some of these areas. And I think that we will internally take this zone and other office zones into consideration for opening up different types of development. And I think it's just essential that we do it, first step tonight. I, however, am not in favor of approving this special permit. I think that the applicant can work with the neighbors and try to find a special permit site plan application that makes some peace, because I think it's important that the people who live in that area are considered, and I also think that it's a good neighborly policy. So I will not support the passage of the special permit, and would be happy to see it come up in the future with local residents' support. Any other questions or comments from the board? I hear a motion. Mr. Sadi.
Thank you very much, Chairman Quich. Regarding 0305-325 Subway, which is a zone, I will remove that from my motion. I move to approve with the following modification: that there be no receipt, collection, storing of motor oil on the premises. The petition for this was by Attorney Kevin Kersaden for a special permit with site plan review and lot consolidation to construct a 1,600,000 square foot warehouse on map 41, block 303, parcels E, F, and G, of which Subway Subs, Inc., Big Drive Realty II LLC, and Subway Subs 2 LLC are the owners.
Mr. Sadi?
Second.
Mr. Chair? Would Mr. Sadi, it sounded as if you were trying to incorporate what the applicant has offered. He offered the receipt, collection, storage, and recycling of used automotive fluids, including used motor oils, is being prohibited. So you limited it to just motor oil, but there could be other fluids that they are collecting.
I will take the amendment through the chair to Mr. Sulkus, if it's about. I will take that amendment.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Meg, if you would call the roll.
Ms. Austin,
With the motion.
Mr. Castagnoli, Mr. Hirsch,
With the motion.
Mr. Cater,
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian,
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer,
With the motion.
Mr. Sadi,
With the motion,
Mr. Zaharidis,
Against the motion.
and Chairman Quish.
I'm also against the motion.
The motion passes.
Okay, thank you. If the public wants to leave, we have other business to attend. If you would just spend a few minutes and try to do it quietly. Please take your conversations out into the hall so we can finish our business. Thank you. Next order of business is old business. We have none that I know of. Liaison report.
No report, Mr. Chairman. We meet next week, and I'll give you a report in January.
Very good. And subcommittee, David, if you would walk us through what we have in front of us tonight.
Okay, we have three recommended regulation changes that the subcommittee have approved to be circulated to the Council of Governments and the DEP, obviously, if the board agrees with them. They are, we're calling it 23-3, which is a change to section 5.8.4, which is compliance, and section 11.2 definitions. There's a section, item number 23.5, which is section 5.8, 13.4, A&E flood zones, and all of these particular changes have to do with definitions of base flood elevation and things related to flood zones to make them more consistent with other changes the board had previously made. And then we have 23-8, 9-4 approval of location in section 5.4.1 commercial garages. By statute, the Zoning Board of Appeals has to approve certificates of approval of location for automotive uses. In previous times, the Planning and Zoning Board did it. The legislature kept going back and forth, moving it between the two, and in the end, they have just changed it once again, saying that neither board should look at this. It should just be a function of the zoning enforcement officer, because if you, the Planning and Zoning Board, think that and approve a automotive use somewhere, as long as you approve it and the zoning enforcement officer knows that you approved it, it's sort of one-stop shopping at that point, so they can get their permit.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board for Mr. Sulkus? David, do we need three motions, or do we need one motion?
You can do, if you want to do one motion to, include them all. I believe you may have that in front of you. So you can read that one motion that incorporates all three if you believe that all three.
And these will be subject to more scrutiny in a public hearing down the road.
Yeah,
this is just to circulate. So.
Exactly. It's just to circulate because we're required to do that by statute, get comments back, and then that's, once we get those back, you have your normal public hearings with the public.
So I'm okay with one motion then. Do we have a motion? John Mortimer.
Okay, I move to approve circulation of the following proposed regulations/changes. 23-3, section 5.8.4, compliance in section 11.2 definitions. 23-5, section 5.8.13.4, A and AE flood zones. And 23-8, section 9.2.4, approval of location in section 5.4.1, commercial garage.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any conversation on the motion, discussion? Seeing none, Meg, if you would call the roll.
Ms. Austin.
With the motion.
Mr. Castagnoli. Mr. Hirsch.
With the motion.
Mr. Cater.
With the motion.
Mr. Collegian.
With the motion.
Mr. Mortimer.
With the motion.
Mr. Sadi.
With the motion.
Mr. Zaharidis.
With the motion.
And Chairman Question.
I'm also with the motion. Chair's report, I'd like to send out a personal thanks to Nancy, John, and Joe for their time here on the board. And I wish you all well in your future endeavors. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Staff report.
Mr. Chair,
Sadi.
thank you very much. Just a point of personal privilege, Nancy and Joe and John. It's been a pleasure being with you for all these years, some not as long as others, but We wish you the best of luck in your endeavors here, and come back and visit once in a while. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. No chance.
I am looking forward to my Tuesdays off.
Brush the dust of this one horse town off your boots. Okay, we do have approval of the minutes. I will abstain. I was not here last meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, they're approved. Staff report?
Yeah, a couple of things. I want to echo what you said. I want to thank Nancy and John and Joe for your service. You know, you made this a better board. You know, I wish you all the luck for your future endeavors. And you never know, you may come back. It's been known to happen. So that's number one. And number two, I sent out an email to you letting you know about a training opportunity for December 11th, which is being put on by UConn, and it is through Zoom. And it's really important for those of you who are going to be remaining on the board because you have to do this training, let's see here, by the end of the year. So this is an opportunity for you to get all of your training, which is statutorily required. I would take advantage of this if you can. Obviously, there'll be other training opportunities in the new year. As sitting board members, you need to complete it by January 1st, 2024. And the new members who are coming to the board, you know, they have a year to do it. So please avail yourselves of this opportunity. And thank you again, everyone, for you know, your service on the board and all that you do.
And this is the last meeting of the year. The next meeting is canceled. There's nothing pending. So I'd like to wish everyone a great holiday season and happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year. We're adjourned.